Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to another What's Up Wednesday. All right, I think we're live now. Woo! Running around here like a madman. Got my coffee. I got my goodies. Let me just go lock that door. Last thing I forgot. Stay right there. Finished. Good hustle. Good hustle. Always trying to remember all the stuff you got to do before What's Up Wednesday, which include but are not limited to plugging in this computer here to the routers. We don't have to deal with this wireless mumbo jumbo. Locking the doors. Got the phone over there off the hook. Got your favorite jug up on the wall right there. The little tiki man. And get the coffee. Get the mail call around. Make sure I don't forget nobody. Try not to anyways. I apologize right now if I do. So yeah, now I just got to calm down a little bit. Is it snowing up here? It is. Well, it's on and off. We're just on the edge of this storm. So it's snow, then rain, and all that business. But Keith, however, down there in New York City, they're getting bombarded with snow. And there he is. Speak of the guy. New Level Auto. Or auto, as they say down there. It's not auto. Let's see here. I got text messages. All right, here we go. When's the car lift giveaway? Probably not going to give it away. Actually, I have a friend I'm going to give it to or sell it to or something. At any rate, I think we should get digging right in with the SMA mail call. We'll get that out of the way in the very beginning because we got a few things. One of which includes, you guys see my vice grips, aka the door handle. I don't want to be getting that grit in my coffee. Look how shiny they got from being on my door there in the office for a while. So that's a good way to keep your vice grips clean. However, I was able to take these off from the door because a kind viewer had sent me some doorknobs. He sent me a 2-pack and with no name or nothing. They just showed up from Amazon in the mail. Doorknobs, key to like. I got 2 of them. So now we got a backup or if the bathroom door breaks or something. So I was nice and did replace one of them. So whoever sent that, thank you. And now Mrs. O can open the door and not complain about my vice grips. Boom, sorted. And I will put the vice grips back in the box. Let's see. Oh, I did buy these the other day. So these are like some cheap knockoff brands, wire strippers that were just like my Snap-on ones. Don't waste your money on them. I got these on Amazon for like $12 because I thought they'd look just like my Snap-on ones. And I was going to send them to my friend Andy Mechanic, but they were too crappy, I thought. They just feel cheap. They're going to wear out. They're going to, they already have some play in them, so it's not going to work good. So I bought them a pair of Snap-on ones today, which were like 3 times the cost, but twice the quality. And got them shipped out over and a little bit south to the New Zealand, I guess they call it. Down somewhere near Australia where it's warm, I think. So there is that. And then yeah, Mrs. O's going to mail me a timing belt. She probably is going to be upset because I sold her timing belt kit again. Let me go shut that furnace off. I'll shut it off till I get cold, and then I'm going to have to turn it back on. So yeah, I sold Mrs. O's timing belt kit again. And I sold it. So here's this. Listen to this crap before we get on a mail call. So my boy Josh, Josh that used to work here, he's off in tech school. He's at, I won't name the school because I don't want to embarrass it, but it was one of the top rated schools by a very popular trade magazine in the industry, both of which I won't name. What school he's at or what trade magazine tooted up this school for being the top school, trade school. My boy Josh calls and wants to know if he can come here to change the timing belt on his Honda Ridgeline. I says, why don't you just do it at school? You're going to be this ASE super mechanic. And he can't do it at school because his instructor who teaches these children says that he has never done one. What? I'm just going to leave it at that. What? Are you freaking kidding me? Anyhow, I don't know what kind of school he's going to, but if his teacher has never changed a timing belt, Shimon. And we'll leave it at that. So I got here a lock-on style grease coupler that comes with all new guts. So when it wears out and no longer locks onto the grease fitting, you can repair it. So these are great. These are maybe not so much automotive wise because our fittings are always so tight to get to, but I'm going to use this little guy at home for my tractors and equipment and stuff like that. And this comes from Wheeler. Oh, no, I'm reading the wrong line. This comes from George. So thank you, George, for that. It will be put to good use, and I appreciate it. We'll stick that to the side. And what goes better with a lock-on grease coupler than a brand new snap-on grease gun? So this was sent to me from perhaps SMA's youngest viewer, Miss Sophie. Her dad is a law enforcement officer in the K-9 division where they live, and he's also an aviation mechanic. And he has sent me stuff in the past for What's Up Wednesday, and just to be an overall nice guy. Let's see. Sent me a message on Facebook and saying that his daughter was so happy that I received my item. She hopes that it works for me. She's been tracking it over the weekend and wondered why I didn't go get it on a Sunday. He told her two things, that UPS and myself, we don't work on Sunday. Said he hasn't seen her that giggly in a while. Of course, he also mentioned that his daughter went to her piggy bank after watching our video on the Ford Fusion and seeing my grease gun explode, or pretty much epic fail, and went and got her own money to buy this to send it to us. So that is much appreciated. And in here, to go with this, is a lever type Blue Point grease gun. Still in the package. Now it does come with a hard pipe and your classic flex hose, which I'm going to elect to use the flex hose on it with that lock coupler. And I will be taking this home and bringing my pistol grip gun from home, bringing it here, because these work, the lever type on, machinery and equipment a whole lot better than my little pistol grip type. So that's where this little guy is going to reside, probably until I'm into my old age, because it should last me a very long time at home. So that's the story with that. I'm going to put that right in there. So I stick it in my truck and I don't forget it. And then I got to remember to bring my Lincoln. I got a Lincoln, a red Lincoln pistol grip one at home. And I'll bring that in. So I'm going to set that right there. So thank you, Miss Sophie, for sending me that. Let's see what else. A couple things that are not accounted for here to physically see. One of which, so we've received some stuff in the mail before from some other viewers, a year or so ago, or a while back, I should say, from like Omaha Meats, where they send you steaks in the mail, come in a cooler with dry ice. And the dry ice is pretty cool because you can, put it in a jug and a little water and blow stuff up. I learned that on YouTube. A viewer that goes by the name Mr. Jeff M, we'll call him, all the way down in Tennessee. He had sent me some ribs, big box. This thing came in a huge box with 2 slabs of ribs in this famous Rendezvous barbecue sauce, 1 pint of the baked beans, 1 pint of the coleslaw, 1 bottle of Charlie's Select sauce. It is not a secret, but it is Charlie's, and some cashew crunch in an 8-ounce box. And this all showed up in the mail today. However, it was perishable, so I can't just bring it out here in the shop and whip out a slab of ribs. But Jeff, we do really appreciate that, and I'm sure our family will enjoy them. I'm a rib junkie. I love my ribs. We usually go to a place in Corning. I'm gonna draw a blank. Oh crap! Give me a minute. I'm gonna tell you I go there and I can't tell you the name of it. They actually have two places right in Corning, the same joint. Somebody Google it. Barbecue place in Corning, New York. That's where, if I'm gonna go get some ribs, that's where I'll typically go. I can't freaking remember the name of it. Somebody will Google it. Embers. No, it's not Embers. Dang. I can't think of the name of it. I don't want to Google it right now. Somebody will. It'll be up here like 50 times going across the screen. It's a barbecue place in Corning. They used to have one over by the Corning Glass Works, and now it's moved down on Market Street. Slammin' Jammin'. Boom. Fred got it. Slammin' Jammin' Barbecue. Pretty good place. Their barbecue good. Side dishes, meh, average. And also, Sam from Tool Hut, so he's on YouTube, Tool Hut USA. No, it's not Burger King, MD Lee. You can't get the McBurger. That's not barbecue. That's just like meat paste in the shape of a rib. At any rate, Sam from Tool Hut USA, so he's on YouTube. He's a mobile programmer out in Michigan, right? Am I right? I'm right. It should be. Him and his family, they run a mobile programming, mobile diagnostics, similar to what Keith does. He sent me some hot dogs, what you're thinking, like hot dogs, some pickled bologna, and another meat sauce that you put on the hot dogs. All came frozen. I have to apologize for not knowing the brand name, but I'm thinking hot dogs. I got to tell you what, they were amazing. For a hot dog, you know, I'm like a ballpark Oscar Mayer. You know, I don't want none of the cheap hot dogs because they all kind of taste crappy. The better ones, not so crappy. These things, fantastic. I will get the name of them. I forgot to grab it because they're in the freezer at home. Well, they're in the fridge, the one package that's left. And the pickled bologna is just amazing. I mean, it's just pretty dang good. I'll tell you that. So thank you for sending that, Sam. I do appreciate that. Of course, I'm a sucker. I love stuff to eat. So there's that. I had that wrote down so I wouldn't forget. How's the stream going? Is it looking all right? I see it kind of keeps focusing, doing its thing. Lips and buttholes. Yeah, that's what hot dogs are made out of. Tube steak, isn't that what they call it? Maybe not. Okay, looks good. I'm sure if Sam's on here, he'll write the name. I'm trying to remember. It'll come to me. Stream's good except for the weird guy flapping his lips. That's what I do. So we will continue on. In this package here, I see the guys in the room. He goes by the name of W.W. Wrenchy, or Woo Wrenchy if you pronounce the W. Sent me a plate from Nova Scotia. Now, he did notice that we already had a Nova Scotia plate, but he said we didn't have the old school one without the ships on it. So he sent us that and some other stuff here. Hold on. A sweet fluid film t-shirt. That's what I'm talking about. Now it is extra large, so he must think I'm husky. Must be the camera adds 10 pounds. I'll see if Mrs. O can wash it and shrink it down so it fits me and or continue to eat the ribs and hot dogs, and I'll fit in it in no time. So he sent that and a bunch of these Gojo scrubbing wipes, dual textured for tough soil. So if I soil myself, I will definitely use these, especially if it is a tough soil. And he writes, "Hey Eric, greetings from Canada. The videos just get better and better. They're both educational and entertaining. SMA certainly stands for serious mechanical abilities." Touche, Mr. VW. The What's Up Wednesday is always a favorite, including your food reviews, which I have sitting over here for when the time is right. As a fellow automotive-oriented dude, I am enclosing a couple items for your, you got me on that one, including an old school Nova Scotia plate that's older than you, man. That's older than you, man. I assume that's how Volkswagen guys talk. From my 1976 Ford Pinto of many years ago. Wow. I see you have one of the newer plates that have the sailing ship blue nose on the background. This one is before we had letter plates. Cheers. Keep up the good work. W.W. Wrenchy. Also wanted me to know that thermostat change seemed to fix his Buick fuel mileage problem. All right, Mr. D, or W.W. Wrenchy as you go by. Appreciate that. I will keep these handy for the accidental soiling and cleaning. And I'll definitely be sporting the fluid film shirt. However, I will have to sew a pocket on it if I knew how to sew. Moving on down the line, we have another license plate here from Georgia, and it says CJ. Get it? CJ? Here, I'll give you a hint. Now you get it? CJ Jeep. All right, pretty classy. I think, what do they call them? Vanity plates? Well, that's pretty sweet. I used to have a CJ myself. A CJ8, 1981. And he writes, Mr. O, greetings from Dacula, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Georgia. Here's an old tag, as we say in the South. CJ was on our CJ5 for years. Hope it can find a place in your collection. Cheers, Jeff, retired old gearhead. All right, Jeff, well, we appreciate your plate. I feel kind of guilty, man. This probably has a lot of memories with you with your CJ5. I know I had a lot of memories with my Scrambler. And a lot of tickets, and a couple, well, first and second degree aggravated unlicensed operation with it. Lots of memories. However, Mrs. O now wears my 1981 CJ8 on her finger. So that's what happens. You get old, you get married, and you got to sell something because you can't keep playing with toys forever. Dacula, like Dracula. I am from Dacula. I think that's what people in Dacula, Georgia say. I'm from Dacula. And then I got this box of like phone jacks, outlets, some Cat 5 cable holders, some phone cable holders, some of these wicked awesome Scotch locks that they use on telephone line, which were pretty handy because another viewer had sent me these same ones, and I used them for our home theater. We have a projector downstairs. We don't have TV at home, but we do have a Blu-ray player and stuff. And these little connectors here are pretty awesome, and they were great for running the speaker wires up to the drop ceiling and all that stuff and hooking that stuff together. They're pretty awesome. They have like dielectric grease or some sort of sealing agent in them, which is pretty handy. So I'm going to keep them around. Sent me a whole package of them, which is pretty cool. But the phone jack thing, I don't understand. He says, let's see what he says. And he writes, hey, Eric, I watch your videos all the time. There's a lot of great information. I sent you some phone jacks and faceplates because I see in some of your videos your office looks really old. Ha ha. I work for AT&T down here in the KY. Hopefully, I think that means Kentucky. The blue tool is to push the wire down in the jack. If it's just for phone, just pinch it down in the blue white. If you didn't already know that, I'm sure you did. Of course I didn't. I'm not a phone expert. The black clip looking thing is to hang your gloves off your tool belt. Figured you could do something with it. I threw in some screw clips in there for you. Also in the cardboard box is the 3M connectors, are what we use to connect phone wires back together. Let me know if you need any Cat 5 or new phone wire for them old jacks. Adam W. All right, Adam. Well, I'll see about updating the old dingy phone jacks. Likely not right away because they still work really great. However, I am going to utilize some of your Cat 5 stuff because if you could see around my corner here, I've got about a 50-foot roll that's plugged into this. It's kind of just draped all over everything and back into my modem. And someday, probably the same someday that I'm going to do Mrs. O's timing belt, I thought about, why don't I run that cable all fancy like in some clips? And now I have some, so I'm that much closer. What do we got here? Oh, and another viewer Carcey, I think that's how it's said, C-A-R-C-E-Y, out there in Michigan or Minnesota or Mississippi, whatever state is M-I. I think that's an I. Maybe it's an M-L. I can't really tell. A state that begins with the M. It sent me some Krispy Kremes in the mail, which were about 40% edible. I've suffered through it, heated some up, and ate some. But as we've said in other live chats, live streams, What's Up Wednesdays, the Krispy Kremes don't usually survive the mail. However, I still appreciate it. Let me just check here real quick. Oh, I must have missed a live stream or a super chat. Keith forwarded it to me. So thank you, Keith, for that. I'll take care of that right now. Junkie Shop Time wrote, Eric, do you know what diagnostic in programming computer your brother has, or could I ask him? Let's see. Or you could ask him and let me know. I'm looking to purchase one if they can do programming diagnostic stuff. I can kind of answer that question. So he uses, I think, 2 different generic programs for big truck, generic interface. It starts with an N, like NextQ, NextQuick. I can't recall right offhand. I would probably hit him up on Facebook if you have a Facebook account and ask him, because I know he uses a lot of OEM software too, like CAD-ET, Cummins Insight. I think he has Mac OEM software. He has a lot of OEMs. There's a lot of bootleg stuff out there too. As far as programming, a lot of that can be done through the OEM stuff. I don't work on big trucks, so you'd have to ask him directly. I wouldn't call a shop because that'll probably just piss him off, but send him a message on Facebook will probably be your best bet to get the answer to that question. Let's see, moving on. We'll get through it, folks. Everybody still with us here? You still doing all right? Nexic, yeah, that's it right there. Diagnostic enthusiast. He just put up there. I know that's his like generic interface. Make sure everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't buy the Chinese clone one. Yeah, I do know they make a Chinese clone for that. Yep. All right. Good. Yeah. Sorry, I missed your thing there. I sit here flapping my gums and didn't see it. I got Keith running back up. You want those, or you ain't getting my ribs? All right, everybody's still with us. Looks like 1,300 folks. What we got here? New Jeep hat. I got some hat hair going on today. Got to give it the right fold because I ain't one of them straight brim guys. We'll wear this for the time being, for the remaining time. Kind of hard taking off these old guys. They've been with me for a long time. Most people write on the card. This guy chose to write on the envelope. That's good because then you can re-gift the card. That's being conservative. To Mr. and Ms. Eric O. Here's a few things for you. A nice new hat for Eric and a candle bar. I believe he means candy bar because I already ate it and it didn't taste like a candle. Some hot chocolate and tea for your coffee cups around the shop, and a little treat for the dogs. I just want to say thanks a lot for all the videos and your hard work. I really enjoy weekend dog videos. They're great. I imagine that's how I want me to say it, Tony the Tugger style. Well, enjoy your gifts and lots of success on YouTube this year. Thanks, Chris. And then he put a card in here for you, a tiny little note of gratitude. Boom, pops right out at you. Of course, you can't see it. It's all 3D. I'll do that again. So be surprised this time. Simply wouldn't do. Thank you. So that's pretty cool. Appreciate that, Chris. Now we'll look in the box. Of course, you guys see we got a new Jeep hat. Wearing that. And then he did send, I had to go take these from the dogs because they've already been indulging in the milk bones. They've already been eating them. That's how we keep Chloe calmed down in the morning, because when she comes here in the morning, she's a nutcase. So we just throw her treats so she's not barking while we're on the phone. So I have to give them back. The hot chocolate, some Miss Swiss, and a tea. I love me some hot chocolate, I'll tell you that, especially with the mini marshmallows. The tea, that's more Mrs. O's thing. I do indulge in some tea, some just plain old black tea. Have any Buick Lucernes come through lately? Not that I've seen. Buick Lucerne. I'm not sure if you're asking for something in particular. But I don't believe so. And then of course the candy bar. Like, I'm gonna leave that up in there. I put the empty package in there so I wouldn't forget. So I'll stick the milk bones, stick them back in there so I can take them back in the office. There. I just feel out of place. I'm gonna have to put it back in there for a minute. I don't want to lose my vibes. I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna wear it. I feel more comfortable. I get out of my safe place and it gets all weird. Oh, we'll stick that right there. I think we're winding down towards the end. And this. So a long time ago, now this isn't something that, a viewer had sent us. A long time ago, maybe a year or so ago, a viewer had sent me some coffee from the Black Rifle Coffee Company. I'm thinking, coffee. This stuff is amazing. Ever since they sent it to me, I've been a longtime subscriber of the Black Rifle Coffee Company, not a sponsor. However, if you are a coffee connoisseur, check out this company. So this is I just had this box because it came in on a recent shipment. It is empty, and I just want to get you the brand of my favorite coffee from Black Rifle Coffee Company, because I've sampled many of their coffees. It's a stuff called Silencer Smooth. And whoa, something loud just crashed out there. Silencer Smooth. Plus these guys have some really sweet stickers that look like that come with the coffee. And we're on just a repetitious shipping thing where they just ship it off. So that's my favorite coffee, and I get it. And I use a coffee press at home because Mrs. O doesn't drink coffee. So it's like real hot class, you put it in, dump your water, and you press it. It's like going to Starbucks. Real fancy. I make noises when I'm doing it. That's what you hear at the coffee shop. But being that we don't have any coffee shops nearby, I do my own noise. But yeah, that Silencer Smooth, it knocks this stuff right out of the water. This is just the generic Tops brand from the Keurig, the breakfast blend, which is pretty decent. And we're down to the last 3 letters. Do I keep going? Just want to make sure. Make sure everybody's still in here. We've gained 45 subs. But yeah, I just want to put that on there. They're not a sponsor, but I'm just telling you, if you guys like good coffee, that's some good coffee. Yep. Love my coffee, especially when it's in a French press. I drink it out of a tiny cup like this. All right, so we'll keep on rocking in the real world. Let's see. This comes from Mr. I don't want to say his name because he just put his first initial in red. That's how you know this letter is going to be serious. Mr. Dennis, all in cursive, big cursive. I'm going to try my best here. And he writes, Erico, I'm a YouTube fan of yours. I met you in person at the Eric the Car Guys get-together last year. I appreciate how you afforded me some time to chat, and also posed for a picture with me. I hope I didn't use my duck lips. I think that's what people do in selfies. I think you're one of the best makers of automotive tutorials. Since I am from the old school, we can tell by your cursive writing. I cannot get into the electronic diagnosis vids, but I know that it is the only way to repair them now. It's not the only way, but it's part of the way. I'll give you that much. Still, I like the nuts and bolts and turning the wrenches, or spanners for you folks across the pond, vids that you put out. I really like your down-to-earth approach to your vids. And mostly, if something is a piece of in your opinion, you say so. And that's true, because if it's a piece of you just tell the people. You can't change that fact. Hope you continue to put out the type of materials that you do. I guess YouTube is hosing you guys. Anyway, keep up the fine work, and I'll recommend you to the people I know. Dennis G. Well, thanks, Dennis. We do appreciate that. And we will continue to tell you if stuff is a POS for short. And just check my text here real quick, make sure it's not Mrs. O in state of emergency. Nope. Nope. Okay. So there's that one. Whittling down, this one comes from Mr. Mike N. from Kingsland, Georgia. Or GA. I don't know any other state. It's gotta be Georgia. Holy smokes. And he writes. That's actually what he writes. He writes Eric. And he writes. Love your vids. I've watched each episode at least twice, maybe more. You need to get a girlfriend, dude. I'll tell you that right now. I've been working on cars since I can remember with my dad, who got me started on my love for cars. When I go to their house, I watch an episode with my dad. Man, I wish I could read in the voice of Casey Kasem. This is Casey Kasem material right here. You know, the talk of the family and the feelings that are in it. I take care of the family cars now that my dad is older, as well as me and my wife's car. Don't get a girlfriend. I retract that last statement. Your wife will be mad, and you'll probably end up single. So keep doing what you're doing. Should have pre-read the letter. And truck. My sister often calls me to work on her car, and generally after something has happened. She is lacking in the maintenance department. I often refer to your extreme flushing video on the Pontiac. That generally sums up her car. My wife knows she has called when she sees that I've put the video up. I'm a copier repairman and have been for the past 16 years and can relate to the ever since you customer. Love your personality and slogans such as every tool has a hammer side. Ain't that the truth? Keep up the good work and hope you get that ice cream machine soon. Mike N. Well, we appreciate that, Mike. And definitely don't get a girlfriend. I totally retract that statement. I hope your wife's not watching. Do not follow my advice. That one we already read. And this one comes from Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner C. from White Plains, New York. Ooh, New York, represent. I don't know if that's what New Yorkers do. Ooh, on yellow stationery. Oh, wow. Good penmanship, Mr. Warner. Mr. O, huge fan. Huge. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us. I've learned a lot and look forward to learning more because of your show, looks like an N. Learning how things work and learning how to think your way out of a situation. I was able to save a few $100s when my passenger side caliper seized. I was on my way home, but when I got home, I noticed I couldn't go over 20 miles per hour. When I parked in front of the house, a brake caliper was plummeting thick white smoke. From what I learned from you, I was able to open up the caliper, unseize the piston, check the side pins that had no lube left, and put it all back together. I saved money from getting it towed and saved labor cost money at the mechanic. Thanks again for what you do, Warren C. Warner C. I was thinking Warren G. Warner C. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad it didn't go up in a cloud of smoke. That reminds me of a song. My head's in a cloud of smoke. We won't sing, even though we always end up singing on every episode. So that was this week's mail call, and that was a big mail call. Man, now my coffee's getting cold, and my snacks are cold. Oh man, now it's the school calling. And that one, probably closing school for tomorrow because it's raining. Let's see. Wow, 1363 up in here. I'm not going to the Syracuse Nationals, no. That was singing, Keith. That was my gangster rap. Shows what you know. Eat a dog treat. Nope. So that's it. So everyone who sent us fan mail, we do appreciate that. I always enjoy getting letters in the mail. They're really super cool. Now, Mrs. O did say that she never gets any fan mail. And she says she's just as handy as me. And she says if somebody sends her a letter like this, as long as it's not something crazy, because, don't be stupid, that she would read it on What's Up Wednesday. She's like, such that she can answer questions just as good as I can. So keep that in mind. However, I will say that to say this. I will not be here for next week's What's Up Wednesday. I will be down visiting Mr. Keith. We're going to be going to TST seminars. So I'll be here Wednesday, but I'm going to be getting stuff done. There is a little talk that perhaps we will do a live from New York. It's not Saturday night, but it'll be, let's talk about it Thursday, maybe, or, forget about it Friday, something like that. Maybe Thursday, Friday, I'll bring a laptop. We'll do some live from New York type stuff, if that is of any interest. However, I'm not going to tote on my mail with me when I go downstate, I call it, down in the other part of New York. So keep that in mind. Let's see. I think that's it. Oh, man, I'm jonesing for some sugar. You can send her a timeout kit. No, don't send her a timeout kit. I already ordered one to replace the one that I sold. Is it my brother who's the heavy-duty mechanic? Yes. Both my brothers are mechanics. Let's see. What do we got here? Had a customer bring me some of these today. It's, I think, locally it's known as monkey bread. At least that's what I've always called it. Or like cinnamon rolls. But it's not really rolled up. It's more like cinnamon dough balls shoved together into a clumpy, sugary, messy goodness. So that's what they look like. We always call it monkey bread. I may be wrong. That's what I'm going with. So I'm going to indulge in this. They're all gooey and completely loaded with sugar. Man, this is so yummy. Now that my coffee's cold. Carbs and sugar, yeah, exactly. Oh, don't send her a new wiper blade for her Honda because her rear wiper quit. Freaking factory wiper motor she put on there like a year and a half ago, dead. So being a nice guy I am, I bought another brand new Honda one and put it on the shelf. Oh man, this stuff is so good, especially when it's warmed up and you melt like a bunch of butter on it. Can't beat it. Hallelujah, it's so good. What's the mug? Sparky's Fix Alt Shop, open 24 hours, and it has like a rubber tire on it. It's like them old rubber tire ashtrays you used to see at the parts stores, which are worth like a bunch of money now. I like it because it has the rubber insulator. Because if you bring out a cup, regular plain old coffee cup, set it on the toolbox, boop, heat's gone, coffee's cold. So that's that. Yeah, I tell her to do another video on replacing it. Nah, I think I got to do it this time. I'll probably do it when I do her timing belt. I don't live in Lower Canada. Frickin' New Yorkers. New York's bigger than that on the map, bro. Okay. Well, so I guess that's it. So when I did, before I put out What's Up Wednesday, I do put a little thing up on the Facebook asking the people, the Facebook people, if you don't follow us on Facebook, you can't participate. What they'd want to talk about. I grabbed these like an hour or so ago. A couple little things on here. we'll scoot down through them. That way we got some stuff to talk about. Gregory Wazada, or Gregory G. I ain't gonna mess with these last names because none of them are like Smith or Jones. That's about the extent of mine. He wrote microbreweries. I think that's what he wants to talk about. And was the auto shop. But I mentioned in the last video with the towing there with my brother that we were up in wine country for all you winos in beautiful Hammondsport, New York, around Keuka Lake. And if you're up there doing the wine tour, there are a lot of microbrews. One of my favorites, the Keuka Brewing Company, makes some fantastic microbrews. So if you want to know about microbrews, come here in the summertime when they're open. Drive around, get a limo, get drunk. I'm not inducing getting drunk, but if you're going to go around doing a wine tour and stop microbrews, you're going to need a ride because you won't make it a quarter of the way around the lake, and then you'll probably get arrested. This stuff is so good, I feel bad for eating it in front of you. Let's see. Oh, there's still people watching. Imagine that. Don Rose. I can do that last name. Don Rose. He wrote, what made you change from working on big rigs to cars? Well, Don. Let's see. Oops, wait a minute here. Keith's hitting me up like a private line. Don't ignore my question when the meetup is on May 5th. When is yours? Oh, I'm going to ignore that question right now, Keith, when the meetup is. What made me change from working on big rigs to working on cars? Simply put, big rigs suck. They're heavy. They stink. They're heavy. Everything you touch, you look like you've been rolling around in dirt for the whole day. I don't know. Yeah, I could do it, but it whips you, man. I'm not made for it. I'm just a little guy. So you start working on that, you're like, oh, here, let me take out this starter. Oh, I didn't know it weighed 7,000 pounds. So I just didn't enjoy it. I did it, but I didn't like it. And I didn't want to, I'd rather do a job and get paid less and enjoy my job rather than work on that big, stinky, greasy, nasty diesel knocking crap and not enjoy it, if that makes sense. Oh, super chat rolling in from Herschel. Hello from Florida. Wow, jealous. I have a 2000 Jeep Grand 4.0 with a P1281. It says it needs an OEM thermostat. The wife, however, who works at AutoZone, said that the brand of thermostat doesn't matter. Well, the brand of thermostat does matter to the point where, like, the AutoZone and Advanced Auto, like, even, you know, most of them, they sell super stats. I shy right away from them, particularly when I'm working on a Chrysler. Just get OEM. I don't even know your code to 1281. I'd have to Google that. I'm not familiar with it right offhand. However, thermostats, they're one of the things that are on my OEM only list because I've been burned so many times by, you know, the Advanced Auto, Napper. They all sell Superstat. You know, they're both same thing. So put them in. A month later, boop, 128, insufficient coolant temp. You're like, brr. So put it in OEM. I don't care if it costs more, whatever. OEM thermostat, done. Let's see, Steve C. He writes, I love your channel. My dad has been a mechanic for 50 years, so naturally I do all my, excuse me, sorry about this. I didn't mean to burp in the middle of your thing. Love your channel. My dad has been a mechanic for 50 years, so naturally I do my own unlicensed work. LOL. Anyways, keep doing what you do, Steve from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Well, thanks, Steve. And keep up the good unlicensed work. You don't have to be licensed. Well, you're doing your own work. Nobody's going to check you. Yeah, that was a monkey burp. Oh, it tastes like monkey. Motor City Mechanic, also found on YouTube. Here's some beer money for the meetup, aka training. Make sure you share with Keith and Mike. I'll try to remember, but I may forget. We do have to plan some meetup action because Keith is not going to get off my back until I do. You're going to be the monkey on my back. Yeah, monkey. So I'll zip down through these again just to kind of inspire some conversation, because these folks did take some time out of their day to go on the Facebook, the FB, I call it. Sharista Mahara. I think the J is silent. Mahara. That's what we're going with. Today is my wife's birthday. Can you give her a shout out? We both watch all your vids together. Her name is Sasha Mahara. Looking forward to seeing you live in a bit. Watching from Trinidad and Tobago, West Indies. That sounds like a long ways away. So we'll give a proper shout out. Happy birthday, Sasha. Whoop, whoop. That's a shout out, SMA style. I really don't know any other way. Jojo Luker, which service manual software do you prefer? Identifix or ProDemand? Yes, I use them both. They complement each other well. So I would leave it at that. I'm going to need some more coffee. Let's see. Continuing on. Let's see. Oh, the same fella, Shastri. I'm totally murdering that. The guy's whose wife had a birthday. Why not all vehicles made stick shift? You need to come over here from the West Indies and drive around, because if everybody had a stick shift, you can't text, smoke a cigarette, and put on your makeup and shift. I guess that's my short answer for that one. What are the most common vehicles you see in my shop? Enter my shop. This question comes from Dale Sharpay. What are the most common vehicles? Domestics. I'll just sum it up in that. More GM and Chrysler than Ford, but in a nutshell, domestics. In the Asian line, all of them. You know, Hondas, Subarus. The least amount I see is Nissan, but I don't see a lot of Nissans in our area. Now, Keith, on the other hand, he works on a boatload of Nissans. So it's just geographics. What else we got here? We'll zip down, almost through them. Matt Taylor writes, work ethic on good and bad days. You have to keep a good work ethic, even if you're pissed off, because the cars you're fixing, they're not yours, they're your customers. They're paying you to do, they're paying you to fix their cars. So even if you're having a rotten day, whether you take your rotten day from home and you bring it to work with you, if you start letting it reflect on your work, you're better off just to go back home, because it's likely just going to give you a bad reputation, perhaps put somebody else's life in danger, and create more work for you. I don't know if I answered that correctly, Matt, but that would be my advice. Let's see. Jim McCormick, and he writes, would you buy a Volkswagen? No. I'll short answer that question. We'll leave it at that. What's the most polite way to tell a service writer to quit trying to get involved in the repair process? This question comes from Ernest. I don't know, because I don't have a service writer. Perhaps the polite way would be to ask them, please don't get involved in the repair process. I don't know. I've never worked in a dealership nor in a place that had a service writer. I've always dealt directly with the customers myself. So I don't know. Perhaps some other folks here can answer that either in the comment box when this is live up on the YouTube, or over here while it's doing its thing. Let's see. Sandbag 1300, Andy writes, did I get a less than average valve job compression as follows in firing order? 178, 172, 162, 180, 172, 180, 170, 172. Maybe. I guess it could be a little bit of a loaded question. So valves, believe it or not, do not seal 100% of the time, all the time. I would be inclined to check the compression cold and then also check it hot, You know, of course, wide open throttle, you know, the same number of bumps each time if you're using just a standard mechanical gauge. And then if I had a cylinder, let's say pick on the cylinder 162, if that cylinder was, you know, reading that consistently all the time, at that point I would do a leak down test before I condemned, you know, is it leaking out of a valve? You know, did I have a, you know, substandard valve job done? I would see where the leakage is being, you know, where it's going. Is this going, you know, out the tailpipe, out the intake, or in the crankcase? I would isolate that before I jumped on, you know, assuming it was valves. I do know the history on your Jeep there, and that you did have both heads done. So I would try that first, just to isolate where it's coming from. And I believe if you check service info, which I think you have the service manuals on that vehicle, there is a percentage variance from high cylinder to low cylinder that is considered allowable. And it's not uneven to see, you know, 8 to 10 PSI, variances across the engine. I wouldn't get too excited until I knew where it was coming from. And then, like I say, you know, I'd be inclined to, you know, start the engine, warm it up, check it again, perhaps run it a little bit, check it again, just to make sure that's really consistent, you know, in that cylinder. So that's just my thoughts on that. Let's see. Raymond Gonzalez. I don't know if it's Ramon or Raymond. We'll go with Ramon. It sounds more better. Difference between no crank, no start and crank, no start, and where to start. That's pretty tricky wording. A crank, no start. Let's see. Difference between a no crank, no start. So no crank, no start is exactly how it sounds. It won't crank, therefore it will not start. Where would I start in that case with the no crank, no start? I would start by looking at the starter circuit or immobilizer, whatever is going to inhibit it from starting, whether that is that thing, you know, ignition switch. It's really going to depend on the vehicle, how much interface it has between from where you turn the key or the key simulator or push the button, and where that signal goes and what has to be done with it prior to engaging the starter relay, you know, assuming it's that type of system. So that's where I would focus my efforts, on the starting circuit. I guess we'll leave that in a nutshell, which could include a multitude of things, you know, multiple modules, immobilizers, you know, stuff of that nature. Let's see, and the difference between a crank no start and where to start. If I was on a crank no start, so this is an engine that cranks over normally, we'll assume, but doesn't start, in that case, I would start looking for the reason to see why it didn't start. I know that's using start a lot in a sentence. Suck, squeeze, bang, boom. That's what you got to know. Does the engine have a lack of fuel, spark, the ability to breathe, and is everything happening at the same time? That's the littlest nutshell I can put that all into. We know it cranks. What's it missing? And those are the three things you have to have: fuel, spark, the right time, and the ability to breathe. That's a small list, always variables, but that's how I would summarize it. I missed something here. Oh, Craig Parker. Andy writes, what happened to the truck your brother recovered? We just took it to the town barns and dropped it off. I don't know what they'll do with it. A lot of the townships will just put them back in service, fix the broken hydraulic lines. Of course, that thing was puking antifreeze and everything else. That's why it couldn't be run. And then they'll probably put her back out on the road. I think we're almost done. I need some more coffee. Looks like you got your own thing going on over here. Let's see. Jacob Thomas, or Thomas, if you pronounce the TH. I called the local auto shop, asked them if they could change my CVT fluid and filter. Told me no. They changed regular transmission fluid and advertised it. I asked them if they could do a coolant flush and use Toyota original coolant and parts. They told me no. Is this normal? Well, Jacob, I'm going to tell you the same thing the shop told you. No. I would say it's not normal. They might just not have liked your approach or something, or maybe you asked them too many questions. I have no idea. I wouldn't tell you no. If you want me to change your CVT fluid, the only thing I would tell you, if you come to my shop and you want your CVT fluid changed, I'm only going to use OEM fluid. I won't use aftermarket fluid. And the same thing with your coolant. I would recommend to you that you use Toyota Long Life coolant. That would be my standard. a lot of these shops use what they call Universa, antifreeze, and transmission fluid. So perhaps that's why they did not want to do your CVT. They probably have a wallet flush machine where they pull it in, they hook up your flusher, in and out. They got a universal ATF. Same thing with the coolant. You probably asked too many questions and said you wanted OEM stuff. They said, we don't want to deal with a schmuck. Not that you are, I'm just saying, you're wise. I'd go somewhere else. Don't go to that shop. Find somebody else who you can go to who will replace your CVT fluid and your coolant and use genuine Toyota parts. That's pretty simple. That's a very common request. I think we're on the last one. Yeah, I'm not saying that he should flush an air, and I'm just saying, you know, service manual is probably going to say, you know, spill and fill at, you know, given mileage, 50,000, 60, whatever. So do a spill and fill, but use OEM fluid. Any Dorman disasters lately? No, I've avoided Dorman like the plague. It sickens me to see the stuff they make and then to look at their stock. The company is just rapidly growing, distributing garbage since 1918. Here comes the Dorman truck. Keep that up here as a little reminder. Go ask Subaru and Nissan how awesome their CVTs are. Reminds me of a story of Mr. F. Bobby. Had a feller lived up the road. Did I already tell you guys the story about the Subaru CVT? Let me know, because I'm not gonna tell you. If I didn't already tell you, then Mr. Escort 1969er sent 20 euros, yens, or some sort of funny money. Appreciate that, sir. No, I didn't. So anyhow, there's a fellow up the road, and I normally do all his work. However, and he's here, he moved here from Jersey, and he lives up on the hill. Not that that matters whatsoever. But he had to go on an emergency run back to Jersey. So his car was overdue. His, I don't know, it was 11, 12, something, Subi, four-door Preza, was overdue for oil change. He had to go. He called me. He's like, hey, can you get me in? I'm like, yeah, right. You know, not right then and there. I couldn't. Just no way. I'd accommodated him if I could. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to get this stuff. I'm going to do my own oil change. I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. So he goes, boom, 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 does his own oil change. Then I see him out in my parking lot. He's like limping down the street, pulls over, shuts it off, finally makes it here to the shop. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, I got this light flashing now. My car won't move. Tells me the whole spiel. So a lot of you probably know where I'm going with this. What he did is he pulled the drain plug on the CVT, because that's right where you can see it. Drained out all his transmission oil, put the plug back in it. Of course, the oil filter is up top, so he changed his oil filter and then dumped 4.5 quarts of oil into his engine, or 5.1, I think it was on that car. So the car's smoking, transmission lights flashing like crazy. And I go check it out, and he destroyed the CVT from, I don't know, it's what, 3 miles here to my shop. Completely annihilated the transmission, and then overfilled the oil on the engine about yay far up the dipstick. Once I figured out what he did, I'm like, dude, show me which drain plug he took out. And he showed me. I'm like, oh, man. Long story short, that was the end of that Subi CVT, and he ended up renting a car to drive to Jersey. So the money saved on the oil change was spent 20-fold thereafter. Expensive little mistake. I don't blame him. He's not a mechanic. So if a mechanic did that, well, now you're in trouble. Let's see. Jared O, we'll call him. I'm going to murder that last name. What do you do if someone insists on having you install poorly designed aftermarket parts, and it takes much more time than normal to install said part because of their fitment or lack thereof? Do you charge them more for labor? I was facing a situation a week ago with an 01 CRV. If someone insists on me having to install poorly designed aftermarket parts, I would hope at that point, Jared, my experience would kick in, and I would just simply decline the job prior to getting it. I do not mind if people bring me their parts, which I've said in the past. However, if you bring me, an aftermarket remote start, this aftermarket, mumbo jumbo, I won't do it, just because I don't want to be married to this stupid thing. If it's like an aftermarket, set of brakes, strut, something like that, typically that stuff doesn't give you a hard time. But if it looks like it's something that's like a little bit sketchy, I'm just like, nah, I don't need the work, so I would just decline working on it. They would take it to somebody else who would be willing to fidget and mess around with it, stuff like that. Great, air compressor's on. Woo, I'm gonna turn on the heat. Oh, I did. Okay, sneaky 1369er. He wrote, Eric, you missed an important comment earlier. Is it? Oh, Aviator 71. Oh, okay, so that's Sophie's dad who sent the grease gun. It's all giggles. You mentioned her for the world to hear. Her words. All right, well, you sent me a grease gun, Sophie. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to tell the whole world, or at least the 1,364 people out of the couple billion that are watching. That's funny. Well, I thank you for bringing that to my attention. I apologize that I missed that. Oh, there's Sam from Tool Hut. I see he's up in this joint now. He's the one that sent the pickled bologna, or bologna, however you pronounce it, and the hot dogs. What about the Hondu heads? Believe it or not, I just got the Hondu heads back. The owner had just brought me them with a extra baggie of extra parts. So I'll get that back together here this week. Man, these things are sticky. He did what with his bologna? It's pickled bologna. I need to lay off them things. I can feel it flowing through my veins right now. Hey, Sam, if you're watching, remind us of the name, brand of that pickled bologna. The people want to know. There it is, Koegels, Koegels. Let's see, the DVD DMC says Chevy 5-speed manual, hard to shift into second. When cold, warms up a little, no issues. Clutch fluid is good, and so is manual transmission fluid is full. Is that a problem? Hard to say, DVD DMC. It's not a problem until it is. When you're talking cold, I mean, how cold? Perhaps you have a synchronizer starting to go bad on second. Is it like hitting a stiff wall, or does it, grind a little and then pop in? That would be the only thing I could assume. As long as when it starts, idles, and you can just shift it through all the gears when the car's sitting stationary. If it doesn't go into second gear hard at that point, with the clutch down, and you already stopped the transmission, stop that shaft, it doesn't go in normal then. If so, I would assume that you might have a synchronizer starting to wear on it. Smoking bologna will give you a popcorn lung. Yeah, Koegels, is that how you pronounce it? Pretty dang good stuff. You would have never thought, oh, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it grinds. So, okay, so if it is grinding going into second gear, you very likely, and it only does it in second. If it doesn't grind into, third, fourth, and fifth, first gear is sometimes not a synchronized gear. So if it only grinds, second gear, I'm going to assume that you have a synchronizer starting to fail on that. portion of it. Oh, Beard says it was a replacement. Oh, that's the guy who wrote on the this guy, but the CRV in the aftermarket mumbo jumbo. It was a replacement A-pipe with the wrong bend, and the flange had too deep a grooves cut in it, not allowing the gas to seal on the. Oh, yeah, that kind of sucks, you know, simply because all aftermarket exhaust sucks. You know, I mean, Walker does an okay job, but you know, sometimes when you look at like the Walker exhaust diagram, you know, and you want to buy intermediate pipe and a resonator, they've got a little diamond next to everything that says, well, guess what? You have to replace everything. So sometimes taking, you know, a front flex pipe and just, you know, matching it up to the rest of the exhaust system that's mint, they don't fit 100%. So yeah, I know you're struggling on that. Aftermarket exhaust sucks, particularly when they, you know, replace the whole welded assembly. Like, why would I? Why am I going to take off this, you know? So yeah, let's say, you know, GM, you know, they put on like the crappiest resonator, sides of them, they rot out. Bottom line, rest of the exhaust lasts like 15 years. However, when you buy a aftermarket Walker, they're like, oh, replace everything. I'm like, why would I do that? Because that stuff is junk in a year and a half. You put on Walker exhaust, you won't get 2 years out of it, period. Their pipes are about as thin as that piece of paper. They're garbage. But they've also, like Dorman, monopolized the industry. And that's all you can get. Their converters suck. Their pipes suck. I don't care if they're watching. Your product sucks. Bottom line. Their SS series or stainless steel, it's garbage. Absolute garbage. So you take your muffler and you put a, you know, stainless steel shell on it that, you know, still has iron content. It's still magnetic. But then the pipes going in and out of it are still just piss metal and they rust out. So what's the point? Why do you, whatever. I'm just saying. Well, let's see here. Andrew S., he writes, I have a 2010 Tahoe. What would you recommend for changing ECU settings, Tech 2 and laptop, or what? Well, Andrew, I guess I don't understand your question. If you're replacing your ECM and you need to update it, you won't be able to use the Tech 2 on that. You can use any other J2534 interface device. As far as changing settings, you can't change settings. I guess I would have to know what settings that you would like to change. But if you're looking for changing your ECU and you want to put it back to factory, you're going to have J2534 interface device. Keith can correct me on that if I'm wrong. What would you recommend for a new homeowner pickup? A Ridgeline? Question mark. Well, see, that's debatable because a Ridgeline technically is more of a gentleman's truck. It depends on what you're going to do. If you, you know, if you got like a bunch of stuff to haul, you know, you want to haul 4x8 sheets of plywood, don't buy a Ridgeline. Yes, it'll haul it. The bed's 4 foot wide, but you're going to have 4.5 feet sticking out of the tailgate. If you're just hauling like garbage to the dump, small utility trailer, stuff like that, the Ridgeline is awesome. I love my Ridgeline. I still miss it. If you want a truck, I love my Tundra. I'm partial to Toyota, so they're going to tear me apart here because a bunch of Chevy guys here, so they're going to be like, oh, you suck. Watch this. Here goes the chat. It's all going down right now. And so that really depends on your need for a pickup. If you just need like a pickup with a small bed for the occasional hauling of stuff, the Ridgeline's fantastic. If you plan on buying a camper, you know, even like a pop-up camp, 5,000 pound towing capacity, but I tell you what, you put 5,000 pounds behind the Ridgeline, the struggle's gonna be real, and it is. I've hauled a lot with my Ridgeline, beat the living piss out of that thing, and it hauled it. It didn't like it, but it hauled it. So it's going to depend on what you want to do with your pickup. Oh boy, here comes the Tundra jokes. I've seen that coming. They're gonna be like, buy a Silverado. They're built like a minivan, and they are. I'm not gonna lie. 07 up Chevy, half ton, minivan. Oh, you like my struts? Those are cute. All right, here comes the nasty messages, baby. But the fact of the matter is, it's all junk. So there, I'll sum it up. Is a synchro on a 5-speed hard to change? And or while I'm in there, should be overhauled or just find another manual? That is a good question, DVD DMC. If that was my pickup, man, you interrupt me right in the middle of all the Chevy jokes. If you have the abilities to tear it apart, if the synchronizer assemblies are available separate from GM, you know, like those get rag trainees that they use, we always call them get rags. I assume that's probably what's in it. They're garbage. I mean, they're throwaway transmissions. They are rebuildable, repairable. However, if you can find a low mileage one at a salvage yard, you may have a lot less investment into that than you would, you know, repairing your old one. And it also depends on your abilities. Manual transmissions are not difficult, but, you know, they do take a certain, you know, skill set to, you know, tear them apart and get them fixed up. Yeah, junk's better than the Shoe Leather Express. Yeah, I'd rather drive a Chevy than walk. Maybe. No, come on, guy. I used to be a Chevy guy, man, like hardcore Chevy, throwing the Chevy gang signs, the whole bit. That used to be me. I was a Chevy man. Even my Jeep, all Chevy drivetrain. Bam. Chevy and Spicer, baby. That's where it's at. Holy crap, how did that get? That was not on my face, was it? I'm going to assume that's from my toolbox. What changed? I grew up. Chevy changed. I'll tell you that. GM changed a lot, in my opinion. You remember back when you could buy like a half-ton truck? I'm not trying to be an American or anything. Like, you know, you had like a, let's say like, you know, 87 to, you know, 98 Chevy pickup, half-ton, leaf spring, torsion bars, you know, like pickup, real frame. And you go down and you get a skid of, you know, a wood pellets, coal, whatever, you put it in the back, boom, 2,000 pounds, blam, you stick it in the back of that Chevy truck, blah, drive up the road, pulling 2 hay wagons, you know. They were tough then. And then they came out with struts and you lean on the side of it and you put a dent in it and they just got weak. They just got weak, Chevy, in my opinion. And then when they quit making the 5.7, I'm like, what? 1999 and a 3/4 ton Chevy with a 5.7 manual shift 4-wheel drive? That was solid, man. That was a solid freaking truck. And then they come out with the 5.3 or come back out with the old 327, I guess it would be. It's just a disaster. That 5.7 was just a solid engine. In 98, 99, man, that thing was perfect. I had a 98 Chevy. Straight pipes. Dude, that thing, I love that truck. So before you get on me about my Chevy hate, I don't hate them. I used to have Chevys. I had an 07 Chevy. I had a 98 Chevy. I had an 85 Chevy. Mrs. O had a 98 Chevy. She had a 91 Chevy. I've had a lot of GMs in my life. I'm just saying. Am I getting a storm? I don't think so. I can still see across the street. Yep. Yeah, so I just like my Chevys. I love my Tundra. I tell you what. Yep, 433 gears and a 6-speed, baby. I mean, she's stout, you know, for a gas engine, you know. Yep. Yeah, I used to love my Chevy, man. That 98 I had, dude, I think it was a hoss, man. I love that thing. I beat that thing. I mean, like, unbelievable. So anyways, I had a, when I first got out of high school, or it was like January. Yeah, it was January when I was all done, you know, with school, we'll call it. So, and then I bought in 99, I bought a 94 Chevy Stepside with a 5-speed in it, short box, you know, just me and Mrs. O, no kids or nothing. She was done with school. And so we bought that and we drove that for quite a while. And that had, it was a W.T model. There's a W.T, but it was a Stepside, you know, 2-wheel ripper, 4.3, total weak sauce. So I took that truck and I bought a throttle body 5.7 and converted it to a 5.7, just, you know, swapped the ECM. different fan shroud, motor mounts, put the bigger flywheel and clutch in it, power steering lines, coolant hoses. It wasn't that big a deal. Boop, drops right in, fits perfect. That thing would lay a one tire fire for like 10 miles. You just keep shifting gears, man. It loved it. So we drove that for a while, and then I don't know, I sold it, or it was starting to get pretty rough. Back of the frame where the shock mounts are on them Chevys, they used to always rot off and they go up, hit the box. So the back of the frame was getting pretty thin on that little guy. So I sold it or traded it in or something, and it was way up. It was way up north. It was like up in the Adirondacks, because I checked on it one day to see where it was, and that's where it was registered. It was there for years and years and years. So the weird thing is, me and Mrs. O are here. So this is like, you know, probably like 2014, 2015 or something. And I hear this truck go by. I'm like, dude, that sounded just like my old red Chevy. It had a real distinct sound to it, because I put an all stainless steel exhaust on it. So it never out, but it had just kind of a weird tone to it. It sounded kind of crappy, but you knew what it sounded like. You know, it sounded like my Chevy. I'm like, no way. You know, I heard it and didn't think much of it. And then I heard it again. And I'll be damned if that truck doesn't reside out back in my shop now. It sits like 4 houses down, back in the prickers at this guy's house. And I'm like, how friggin' ironic is that? There's, you know, I got messages. I was like, you gotta come here. You gotta see this, you know, because, you know, we love that truck. It was a cool truck. A lot of memories in it. I'm going to tell you what kind, but you know what I mean. So, you know, I was like, that's my truck, because I had a deflector thing on the back that had like Heartbeat of America on it, because I'm American, had that sticker on it. I'm like, look, that is our truck. You know, and there's a couple other unique things on it. There was one dent in the front bumper where we were doing something down, screwing it off or something going down the road, and I whacked a delineator on the side of the road, whack, and it put like a perfect V in the bumper, just like a little spot on the bumper right behind the rubber strip, and that dent was there. Oh man, I almost cried a little. I thought about asking the guy, but when I sold that truck, I mean, years ago, it was rotted. The frame was toast. It shouldn't have been driven. How in the heck it still sits out here? I don't know, but what are the odds that it comes and ends up back in Avoca, New York? So that's my story. Yeah, I love that Chevy, man. Whacked a deer with it. We're done. I ended up stuck with that thing. So the 2-wheel drive, of course, young kid, you know, you go, man, I can go anywhere. I had my tire chains in the back in case you got stuck. So we used to go up and smash down some seasonal roads. Well, there's this place in Bath. We call it, locals refer to it as Devil's Dip. Other people call it Windfall Road or Bonnie Hill Road. I can't remember. But you're driving along, and boom, it's just like straight down. It's seasonal limited use highway, straight to the bottom, and then straight up the other side. I mean, steep grade, like 22% grade, wicked steep. So we're going out there, and it was me and my cousin Sabrina, and we're tearing out through there. And I come over, you know, it looked like they had it all plowed, and because you can't see because the horizon goes flat and then it just drops it off. We're ripping down through there. We come over there, and there's like this huge ice bank. Bam! We land on that sucker and freaking slide all the way to the bottom of that hill. I mean, like out of control. Like you're just praying. You think it's your day. You know what I mean? We get to the bottom, dude. We were so stuck. I mean, there was no getting out. Chains, nothing. Get down there, and then bottom of Devil's Dip, you got no cell service. So what do? You know, we hoofed it back out. Ended up, you know, you got to walk several miles to get anywheres. Ended up walking down to her neighbor's, her cousin's house, or one of her friends or something like that. Of a guy I know, his name's Danny. He just recently passed away. He came down with his Dodge. He had a 4-wheel drive Dodge with chains on it, and he backed all the way down like the shoulder in the ditch to stay in the snow and stuff. We got enough change to reach it and then pull all the way back out. But that was a freaking bonehead move there, I tell you. But what's the Chevy gang sign? You're like, what you drive, man? Chevy. GM. I think that's how you throw a gang sign. I'm not sure. Oh, I missed one here. Carry rights. Truck driver here. 40-year shade tree mech. I work on my own truck and agree. Everything heavy, dirty. That's right. Junk. Stinky. Knocks. Apparently, your channel, you got me past the mind block on the 5-volt reference on these new cars. Oh, well, good. Hopefully that helped you in some sort of way. Very common to see your 5-volt and 8-volt, sometimes 9-volt references. Matty Bear writes, best brand of aftermarket brakes. I use and have used for some time the Advanced Auto Platinums, the Wherever Platinums, that have had very good success with them and have installed thousands of them. I also use the Napa Premium, and have installed, hundreds, maybe thousands, but at least hundreds of those, and have had no comebacks. So that would be my only advice I could give you. And if you're worrying about it, go OEM. Yeah. So that was my old red Chevy, man. I love that old red Chevy. Oh, and I had a Pontiac Fiero. I had all kinds of GMs. So, but yeah. Oh, and this Mrs. O, you guys are gonna have to ask her next week or something. So we got this big old snowstorm, and I've been meaning to fire up the Jeep at home so we could try and make it up the side hill and go up and do, rip some donuts in the field and stuff. And the kids like that. And we just go out, you just run it till you get stuck and then just hoof it back home and, go back and get it when the snow melts. So we took and I had to get another battery. The battery I bought from Advanced, I bought like the cheap black, just, garbage bargain tree basement batteries. And the first one I put in was junk. So me and my oldest boy, we run down Vance, we get a battery, throw it in the Jeep, fill up the power steering fluid because the line's leaking on it. And I've got a new line, just haven't replaced it. So we fired it up, put some gas in it. We go up tooling all around up through the fields and up through the woods and stuff, and never got stuck. So it was pretty awesome. But at home, I had to plow. So we had, a couple, we had like a little over a foot of snow, but it was heavy wet. So I used a tractor and a bucket. So the snowbanks by the house are like just about up to my armpit. And I thought they'd be frozen. So we're coming along with the Jeep. Blam, I go smash through one of them and poof, up over the hood. It's like, oh, that's cool. They're really not that frozen. So we drive around, we're smashing through snowbanks and, fast as you can get going, like in the snow. I got a 4 low, like right to the rug. So we're blasting through these and stuff. And so we go up, drive around some more, and I come back down the hill. Well, when you come off my hill, it's a real steep grade. And it flattens out to my yard. And then it comes up to like about a 7 or 8 foot bank and then flattens out on my driveway. And of course, on that bank, it's at the edge of my driveway. There's like, 3 or 4 feet of snow right there. So I thought, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to come off this hill right to the rug. Boom, blam, we'll blow through that snow drift. All like, I don't know. It looked a lot better in my head at the time. So the other 2 kids are gone. My boy's riding in the back. Of course, I got like chainsaw back there, chop saw, this crap in the back. I come off the hill, pedal to the metal, man, giving her a bunch of shoe. Started up that bank, and we never went through that snow drift. It was froze solid. We went over it. I thought I broke the Jeep in half. It was like, boom, like that. I mean, it was so freaking solid. There was nothing graceful about it whatsoever. I mean, it sounded like somebody hit the bottom of that Jeep with like a sledgehammer. Of course, Mrs. O, she comes up. Nobody's got seatbelts on. The boy in the back, he comes flying forward. Bam! He pastes his head off the back of Mrs. O's seat. She hits the ceiling. Of course, I got the steering wheel holding me in. The motor stalled. It was epic. I'm laughing so I can't even breathe. Mrs. O's like, my back. She did something to her back. My boy in the back, he doesn't know what's going on because he's upside down laying on the floor now. It was freaking epic. I wish I would have recorded it. Of course, then everybody's laughing. It was amazing. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, you just hear, I wanted it to stop in midair and a narrator come on and say, well, here in Hazard County, and then just fill in the blank or just something, maybe the, but it was nothing like the Duke Boys did, nice and smooth. This was more like, wham! It was just like that. It was awesome. I went back and did it again, of course, with the kid out of the car, Mrs. O, and she watched and recorded it. But at that point, I hit another spot of the snowbank, and it more blasted through at that time. But I think I was being a little bit shy on the gas pedal and didn't hit it near as fast as I did the first time. But it was epic. And now the front of the Jeep is a little bit busted up, but whatever. So it was super fun. It really brought back a lot of memories. Oh, yeah, it came down evenly. It came straight down, Brandon. But it came down like a ton of whales, like a ton of feathers. I mean, it was just like, like that. It was awesome. It was awesome. Let's see. The same 2,000-gram Cherokee 4.0 won't idle when cold unless you hold the gas for a minute, then it runs fine. No check engine light and scan them. I'll tell. Mini and no stored codes. Any ideas would be great. Well, I would say, Herschel, I would be checking the throttle body to see if the throttle body is heavily coked. And I'd also be checking the operation of the idle air control valve, making sure it itself is clean. So I would clean the throttle body. I would clean the idle air control valve. And that typically will take care of 90% of idle problems on Chrysler products, you know, of that vintage. That would be my advice to you. Yeah, a ton of whale dookie or a ton of feathers. They both weigh the same, Glenn. Duh. But whale dookie is pretty heavy. So yeah, we have another story like that. I've actually got some video. My buddy Fodge, who I used to hang out with, we used to hang out with all the time when we lived in Howard. We had a Ford Bronco, full-size Bronco with quad shock suspension on the front. We cut the doors and stuff off it to make it like a Jeep. And we used to have a motocross track we'd ride our four-wheelers and stuff on. Well, one day, and Mrs. O, you know, she'd hang out with us and stuff like that, and his girlfriend and, you know, a bunch of other people. We thought it'd be pretty sweet. We had a 75-foot tabletop, and we thought that we could take the Bronco, and we knew that if we put helmets on and we padded the dash that we could clear that tabletop. And I guess long story short, you can't, okay? But the Ford quad suspension on that Bronco was as smooth as butter. You could launch that thing. We would push up jumps with the bulldozer. We'd push up jumps with the dozer. And you could just, I mean, you could hit it full throttle, poof, send that baby flying through the air. And it would sail nice when it landed. It was just like, poof. It was like landing on an angel. It was just like, poof, you know, an angel on a cloud. That stuff was awesome. So part of me, instead of getting a Jeep, really wants to get a Ford Bronco with the quad suspension in front, the four shocks, because you could jump that thing like a Banshee. Independent front suspension. It was awesome. We do have some video. I'm going to have to see if I can get it from my buddy Mike, where we jumped the gas line. So his property, he's got a couple hundred acres, and part of it has a gas line on it, which has a creek on it. And the creek bank drops down probably like a good 20 feet, flattens out just a smidge, and then boom, right back up. Well, we would take off from the one side of the gas line, hit that as fast as we could go, drop down, boom, you could launch out the other side. And I've got some pretty neat pictures of us like fully airborne in a Jeep with our helmets on, and like hanging on to the dash, and it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I would love to get that Bronco, man. That thing was great. So the only problem was, and this really has put a lot of faith in that 300 6-cylinder, because that's what was in the Bronco. So our first jump, our first attempt at a big jump, the battery was only held in with a bungee cord. And when we landed, the battery fell over and, of course, went through the fan because we didn't have any fan shroud on it. It hit the fan, boom, got all wadded up in there and smashed through the radiator. So we didn't want to put no money into it. So we would just drive it with no radiator. And believe it or not, we took that battery. The whole side's bust out of this battery. We put it back in the battery tray. And that thing, to the day we got rid of that Bronco, it started it every single time. It was like a miracle. I should have saved that battery because there was nothing in it. The whole side's busted off. You can see the plates. It stinks. It would smoke and smolder. But you hit that key, she'd start right up. And we would drive it with no radiator for like, you could probably drive it like 20 or 25 minutes, and it would get so hot it would seize up. The engine would seize. It'd quit running, and we'd stop and probably enjoy a adult beverage. And I'm not condoning to doing anything bad. I'm just saying this is, you know, back in the day. We hang out, get back in that thing, boom, she'd fire up, boom, away you go. And it would be boiling, literally. You pop the hood, and, you know, a big long cylinder head, you could see the head gasket actually boiling and pussing out oil, just sizzling. I mean, you couldn't get near this thing. To the day he got rid of that, it still ran. And that just, Ford 300, that's where it's at right there. And I'm not even a Ford guy. But that thing was solid. I mean, solid. Yeah, lots of stupid stories like that. Jumping stories anyways. I did own a Ford once, come to think of it. We jumped that car too, and it broke. I didn't own that car not even 2 weeks. Jumped the railroad tracks with Mrs. O. Busted the struts right out of it, and then sold the vehicle. I think I told you guys that. Yep. Oh, Steve Syndrome. Let's see. Have you ever used Crown Rust products? Self-healing barrier. And they ship to the U.S. We use it in Canada and have driven vehicles 20 years rust-free, and also ever used AMSOIL. Well, Steve, go on my channel, check it out. Yeah, I know Crown, and Crown knows me. I've done some videos on crowning my truck in the aftermath of Crown. I've done videos on it. Yes, I use Crown. I love my Crown, love my fluid film, and no, I don't use AMSOIL. But thank you for sharing that information with me. But if you go on the YouTube, SMA YouTube, so YouTube/self-made auto repair Volca, whatever it is, and go to the little search thing and type in Crown, it'll bring up the videos I've actually done on Crown. So, but thank you for sharing that for me. And now Lightning Smoker is going to be writing everything in caps locks because you mentioned the word Crown, and he is like the Crown junkie. Yeah, man. Not Harry just gave me a what's up. So yeah, Crown fluid film representing fluid film. I don't know if that's fluid film's official gang sign or not. We need to come up. Oh, and then you got WD Stay and Spray. That's their gang sign. I don't even really know if any of those guys are in a gang. I don't doubt that for a minute, Glenn. Not 1 minute. And there's the fake Scotty Kilmer. What's he say? Visit the Scotty Kilmer channel for tips on how to use fuel injector cleaner. That's the fake Scotty people. Don't get too excited. However, that was funny. And he always super chats like every single live stream. Scotty just did a video on WD-40. I don't know how to take the guy. I'm not going to say anything more about it. I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to say anything. Think of something else to talk about before I say something I shouldn't say. Let's see. Yeah, it was a great video, Scotty. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's just great entertainment. Let's see. Crispin Coleman writes, hey, Eric, I recently picked up a used Virus. Cheap, works fine, but has no scope leads. Where can you recommend I find a set reasonably priced? Crispin Coleman, I would say do not buy them from Snap-on. Go to aeswave.com. Look in any of my recent videos. In the description box of that video, there will be a link to AES Wave. They will sell you some leads for your Virus. And while you're there, pick up the U-Test kit that they make. You will have everything that you need to operate your scope. And that's it. I don't know what else to say. Like I was going to say something else, but yeah, do that. And if you need a amp clamp for it too, you can also get the one from AES Wave with the banana jacks on it. Do not buy from Snap-on their products for that. Their test leads, their amp clamp, because you will get hosed. So, oh, Al Gore got timed out by Ozstar. Oh, naughty, naughty. Have you ever tried the 50/50 acetone transmission fluid for rusted parts? I have. I actually have a pressurized sprayer up there for that. Tanner Anderson says that he tooted. All right. Have I seen any aluminum rust yet on 2015 and newer trucks with aluminum body parts? I haven't. Not yet. But everything else we get in that is made out of aluminum turns to a nice, fine white powder. Yeah, the 240 and 300 Fords were great engines. Yeah, those slant six or straight six rather. Oh, there's Mr. Sadaman. It's going good, Denny. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. How come you can't tell if I'm 25 or 55? That's because I'm 30 something. 8, 7, 37, and 38 in that vicinity. Maybe because I got to shave. Yep. When your hair starts winging out, it's time to shave your head. Say hi to your Turkish fans. I don't speak Turkey. Gobble, gobble. I don't know if that's a Turkish joke or not, but don't take it the wrong way. Gobble, gobble. Oh, I'm cutting in and out. But cutting out. I just made that up. Hopefully, I'm not cutting in and out. I'm just young at heart. You think I look like Bozo, Glenn? That's right. Yeah, Bozo. He did have that. Did have those things, didn't he? Maybe I should let it go. You need to let it go. Jay Young wants to know how often I wash my hats. Well, Jay Young, I put it through the laundry service at home, aka Mrs. O, and she washes it. I have 3 or 4 that are on rotation, probably once a week, perhaps. Hard to say. Do I accept collect calls from Florida? Charles Duke, you can ring my phone off the hook. I will not answer it. We talked about that in last week's What's Up Wednesday, which the calls have been reduced since we came out with the Please Don't Call My Shop video. And yeah, that's been helpful. Of course, you know, we have an answering service that picks up those calls so we can carry on business as usual. And it's not because I don't like the calls. It is because it is impossible, 100% possible for me to take phone calls throughout the day to offer free tech support and run a full-time business. I need to run my business because that's what pays my bills. So, you know what I'm saying? Cardone Industries. So this is like the fake Scotty Kilmer. It's the fake Cardone account. Refund for the remanufactured distributor that left your customer stranded. If it hasn't happened yet, it will. What's my number? It is 8675309. I don't need a new Jeep hat, man. Leave my hat alone. How's the audio, guys? Is it all messed up? I see it came up again saying the audio is all messed up. I'll wait until you guys tell me. Yeah, you're on to me. That's Jenny's number. Jenny. All right, you guys say it's good, so we're gonna rock and roll. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, it's just one guy. So yeah, people are on me. 8675309. You call that? Jenny. She gonna answer the phone and find out who can she run to. Oh yeah, that was one thing I did have written down on my sheet of questions to ask you, the people. Who here is going to TST seminars? I should have asked that. I'm just kind of curious. Want to see? Yeah, she got a number. No, I can't say that word because that's controversial. Let's see. I mean, too far away. I'm not sure. Your boss won't pay for seminars, then get a new boss. If your boss isn't paying for your training, that's ridiculous. Glenn from OzStar is going. Can I tell you about my brother's Peterbilt? I can't, Paul. I don't know much about it. You know, it's V50 Vulcan, short hood Peterbilt. But the only thing I do know is old truckers never die. They just get their Peterbilt. That's an old trucker's joke. Yeah, Scotty Kilmer speaking. Could you imagine? Oh, TST is sold out, he says. Oh, well, I'm at TST seminars. I'm going to be doing a video with Pete Meyer from Motor Age Magazine. So you guys will be on the lookout for that. I'm going to let you guys know about where you can also join in some very affordable training. So if you can't, get out and make these events, there are some options out there. So be looking forward to that. Oh, and that, I guess before we sign off, that brings me up to another thing. Something that ate at me a little bit today in my feels. It hit me in my feels. What was I going to tell you? ASEs, certifications, and the alphabet soup that goes after your last name. What they call your bio or your biology. So I wrote an article for Motor Age. All right. It's coming out in a few months. Being a magazine, like a big timer, right? And to do so, at the end of the articles, they always show your picture and, give all your credentials and stuff. And I was asked to submit that. And, I read Motor Magazine, I read Motor Age, Undercar Digest, all the trade magazines. And there's always a picture of the guy, prim, proper, whatever. And he's got a list, I'm such and such, ASE L1, L2, ABC, Honda Master, GM Master, Ford Master, Jedi Master, shop owner, this and that, boom. So I had to submit my bio. It says, Eric O, mechanic. I couldn't put anything else with it. So I just felt like a ding dong, but whatever, I don't see personally, this is my opinion. So let's say I had all these ASEs. I am going to do my job exactly like I do it now, except I'm going to end up spending money on the tests, which will not make me any better at my job at all, ever. So it's just kind of discouraging, And there was another thing. So I was, so we're Napa Auto Care Center. So part of that, you can actually submit your bio to be in a picking for Technician of the Year, this Napa Auto Care Center Technician of the Year thing. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You got to submit your own entry. They won't accept it because you have to be ASE certified. I'm like, I just mouthed that naughty word. I'm like, that's such a bunch of BS is what that is. So that got me pumped up because I'm like, whatever. And then I got looking. It's such a freaking rigged thing to the Napa Auto Care Center. I don't care if Napa sees this or they take my Auto Care Center away. Kiss it, because the guy who's won it has won it like 5 years in a row. It's like, was he the only one that submits anything? Whatever, dude. So, yeah, you don't need a title to be vital. That's right, Keith. Bam. So whatever, like I say, I've never gotten it. The only ASE I have is my, the federal mandated one to have your EPA 609, certification for refrigerant, but any ding dong can pass that test. Yeah, ASE, ask someone else. So it's just, I don't know, at any rate. Yeah, it's just a little discouraging because I'm not going to go take a stupid test for any of them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not doing it. However, I understand the other side of the coin. I guess I'll put that out there. There are folks, these guys that work in dealerships or, these bigger shops, stuff like that, who have to be ASE certified in order to get a pay raise. So I understand that. You want to make more money, go do these silly tests. They ain't gonna make you any better. Do it, get a pay raise, and still fix cars just like you fix cars now. I don't see it. I can't wrap my head around it. Thanks, Glenn. Get me all pumped up. I just don't get it. Everybody's got to have friggin' credentials. You know, I mean, I'm glad like my doctor is certified and went to college and all, but I would rather go, you know, let's say I had to go get, you know, my ECM replaced, and, you know, this North Main Auto guy, he'd been reprogramming cars for, you know, 10 years and he'd done like 100 of them. Or I could go to the ASE L1 Super, whatever their credentials are, 18-year-old at the dealership who's never touched one. Who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to the guy with experience. That's like I said, I'm not trying to put ASE down because I understand that some guys have to have it or they don't get paid. But, you know, I would much rather go to a person with experience than a person who is a good test taker. That's just my opinion. So that's enough to talk about that, because probably somebody watching this that's going to get pissed off, but whatever. I mean, I fix stuff for people all the time. I'd work for another shop today, so I do a lot of work for other shops. You know, there's another shop up the road here, brand new shop, so it's a brand new one to me, which is cool. They brought me a Ford Edge, new ECM, 2008, 2009, whatever it was. Had put an ECM in it, cut and program extra key because they only have one key, so I did that. But upon doing so, I scored 2 more jobs with him because he's got a Honda at his shop with a security light on he can't fix. And they also have a vehicle, a Ford, what year was it? I think a 10 E350 or E250 that it got converted from a CNG vehicle back to gas, and they need that ECM programmed and to get that vehicle up and running. So anyhow, that's that. So, you know, the one job for that other shop scored me, you know, 2 more jobs, and that's where we'll be going after work tomorrow. That's tomorrow's nights. Let's see. Oh, hold on there, Brandon. You said something that got you. Had to research in January. The questions are outdated and will mildly piss you off. That's what I'm saying. You know, even if you do get it, you gotta keep going back. It seems like a money scam to me. New videos. I probably won't take my camera to that shop because no, I'm not ASC certified, Tony. I don't have anything. I'm not going to take my camera to this guy's shop because he's a new shop owner. He got my information from another shop that I do work for. So, you know, they all talk back and forth. So that's how I landed the job at that guy's shop. So I'll go there, knock them out. You know, the key programming on the Honda will only take a couple minutes, and then the Ford there shouldn't be too big a deal. So CNN wants it. It's the fake CNN, Miguel. Yeah. So I guess I'll say all that to say this. Do any of you guys who are ASC, Master Tech, whatever level, I don't even know their levels, any of you guys that are ASE Master Tech, do you wholeheartedly feel that it makes you better at your job, or it makes you a better mechanic or technician, whatever you refer to yourself as? Do you feel that it actually makes you better by being able to tell what technician A or technician B says? I'm just curious. So I'm going to await some responses to see, you know, your thoughts on it. Do you have it because it's mandatory for your job, which is understandable? Or do you really feel that, like, you know, like, yeah, I wouldn't be nothing unless I had that. You know, I wouldn't even know how to check air and tire. Yeah, it looks better for the customer, better public feel, credentials. Only having to get a bonus. Self-identifier as a DUI. Yeah, boss wants it. Gets more money for it. It's a load of crap. Oops. Yeah, doesn't make you better. Yeah. See, some places, a lot of it's just mandated stuff. Well, you know, whatever. I'm glad I don't need to have to have it. Shop pays him a bonus for passing ASE. Looks good on the wall. Yeah. We have to take a test for a manufacturer warranty rate. So yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I have seen that on some aftermarket warranties. That's right. Yeah, they make sure. Counter folks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the parts pros are ASE certified. Still have a hard time popping the hood on a car, but they got their ASE certifications. Bob Bentley, it did hide your comment, but I did see that. Oh, and flat rate deleted it. Don't worry, we're not going to ban you or anything. So anyhow, at least I guess that puts us, at least it lets me know. Like I say, I'm not going to say, with the ASE, I'm sure they're collecting a boatload of money for it, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll leave it at that. But like I say, it was just discouraging not having a bio to write down, in a publication that's being distributed out through the U.S. It's like, Eric O, the schmuck, whatever, dude. We'll just keep on trucking. So they can put in it whatever they want. It's got my face going like this, smiling. And I wrote an article. It's going to be featured, I think, in April, they said, or something like that. Lots of pictures, too. So, anyways, yeah, I'd rather have my inspection certification than ASE certification because I'm going to make a boatload of money with that. Yeah. So it looks like we're coming up on the magical hour. I can't eat this last one because I'm bumped up. Yeah, YouTube certified. How's that look on your application? That's what I'll put on my next one. And that's the other cruddy part. Like if I have to go get a job, forget about it. Like, oh, what do you do? Oh, here, you're going to be changing oil, fella. Oh, well. Let's see. Low amp clamp. Is there a low and higher resolution? Do I need both a low and a high amp clamp? Yes and no. The easiest way to say is yes, you should have a low amp clamp, say 0 to 60 amps, and then one that goes from, 50 to, 250 or, 100 to 1,000, something like that. Now, typically your low amp clamps, despite what they say, for example, they will say like, 0 to 60 amps, but it's like, what is it? 1 amp per millivolt. And if you look at the back one, the max output's 2.5 volts. So technically your low amp clamps do go up to 250 amps. As far as the degree of accuracy of that rating, I don't know, but I use my low amp clamp for starter current draw all the time. It fits around the starter cable nice. I just don't use the preset scales. I'll use it on a voltage scale and then, 0 to 2, or 0 to 2.5 volts. That's its max output, runs on a 9-volt battery. So that's my thoughts on that. However, I'm not certified, so I definitely would buy a high amp and a low amp, and then you'll be all set. No, I ain't sending it my monkey bread. I'll save it for the morning. Let's see. Snowplows don't flip over on Long Island. I think it's because you don't have any dirt roads, Thomas. Yeah, I am done learning you, John. Go watch a movie there with your wife. Oh, man, there's 1,400 folks up in this joint. I guess. I don't know. I'm done talking. Don't have any more things to say. Be looking for us next week live from New York, as we're going to do a special edition from New York City. I guess it's Staten Island, technically not New York City. Because if you tell Keith, you're New York City. No, I'm not. I live on Staten Island. He throws a gang sign at me. Yeah, there's no hills there either in Staten Island, except the dump. That's a big hill. Let's see. Oh, burn. Somebody just got smacked by the flat rate master trying to advertise his channel up in here, which gets hidden anyways. Anything to pick up tonight? You know, that's a good question, Blazer. I should call Mrs. O because so MIG Mallet 10, you're trying to advertise your channel on here. You're just going to get deleted and nobody sees it before it gets deleted anyways. So just a little FYI, if you're trying to advertise your gaming channel, put the games down, get a job. But yeah, I got to check to see if I got to pick anybody up. I don't think so. Let's see. Live from New York. It's Wednesday night. Actually, it's going to be probably a Thursday or Friday night. But I will be using that opening. My best Saturday Night Live I can. I may even do some Will Ferrell impersonations. Okay? Maybe I'll bring the cowbell. We'll get some cowbell action going. Let's see. Anyhow, I think it's time to wrap up instead of me just sitting here umming and awing at the camera like a maniac. Roger Parent, you just got deleted. Flat Rate Master is like the delete ninja, dude. At any rate, we always need more cowbell. Always need more cowbell because I got a fever. So we're going to keep on trucking here. Again, thank you all for the mail call and everything that you folks send, and appreciation and good vibes that you send from your computer through my camera and into my fields, and all the super chats and nice stuff that you send us. And thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you to our patrons who support us and love what we do. Thanks for smashing that thumbs up button on the videos that you like and the thumbs downs on the ones that suck. We like them all the same. Look forward to all your comments. Look forward to seeing you guys again next week on What's Up Wednesday, or Talk About It Thursday, or Forget About It Friday, whatever it's going to work out. Be on the lookout for some new videos. I'm behind on videos. I need to get some what I call material because it just hasn't been working out lately. So I'll try to get you guys some videos up here sometime soon. And we'll take it from there. So let me get my little button over here so I can sign off appropriately without leaving you hanging. I don't know what to say. So, all right, guys. Talk to you later. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.